Anyway, I'm very happy to introduce Claire to you. Claire was appointed as the Guardian Media Group's Chief Advertising Officer and CEO of its international division in 2021. She is responsible for Guardian's global advertising business for Guardian US, Guardian Australia, and Guardian Jobs. I think I need to say Guardian a few more times. What do you think?
Yeah, work for Guardian.
She's also a barrister and an accountant. So if anybody wants a bit of freelance consultancy from her, you know where to come. So our topic for today is where marketers' content lands is an ever crucial topic when considering that consumers are more and more discerning and concerned about the value of brands they want to support. Last year saw the amount of fake news and harmful content rising, and despite efforts, it's getting harder to stop the spread of unsafe content and environments for both the users and the advertisers supporting the content production. So Claire, let's discuss the challenges, role and strategies of a trusted news source and historical media brands to inform, engage and entertain audiences while keeping brands safe. Next page. Claire, so on joining The Guardian, you referred to the importance of trust in news media and the crucial role quality journalism plays in the world. So how worried should advertisers be about fake news, the rise of misinformation, and the growing number of fraudulent news sites on the web?
Thanks, Jane, and yeah, thanks for having me. I feel really at home in the rain. What I would say in terms of fake news and advertisers, of course they should be worried insofar as it's extremely important where advertising is placed. And from the point of view of fake news, I think what we inherently know is which of the media brands, which of the premium publishers are actually delivering trusted content. And from the point of view of how trusted content comes to be, if you think about our journalists at The Guardian as an example, you know, there are kind of human algorithms to checking the quality and value of the journalism that they produce. And so we have legal subbers, we have tech, kind of tech reviews. We have a whole raft of things that actually ensure that our content, from a journalistic point of view, can be trusted. So I think what I would say is it just requires a tiny bit of thought. I don't think it's that difficult to be discerning as to which content can be trusted and which can't. I mean, there are many, many people who sort of go to social media sites, but actually when they really want to understand depth and breadth of a topic, they are absolutely, we can see it in our data, they return to premium publishers such as The Guardian.
And on that, what would you say were the pitfalls and challenges of online advertising currently? Do you have a top three? No pressure.
Gosh, yes, unless we have a good couple of hours, I definitely can't tell you all. I mean, I think measurement is definitely one from a digital online advertising perspective. Measurement is fragmented, it's inconsistent. Some of the measurements can be gained, so I think that's an issue. Absolutely, trust is an issue. Insofar as it has been waning, but I think it's on the up now. I would say, of course, fraud is an issue. Some of the things that are also playing in very specifically into the digital online space, the deprecation of the third-party cookie, but also the advent of consent insofar as the advent of reject all on the kind of first layer of consent, which by its very nature, I would say, is cookieless. So there's a raft of things that are playing into the challenges around digital advertising. However, I think my DNA is made up of sort of positivity, and I'm a half glass full kind of person. So I would say, fantastic. Great for brands such as The Guardian, great for premium publishers, because we can then provide to the audience as well as to our agency partners and our advertisers, we can provide what they need. Their audiences want to, or should I say, sorry, their advertising, they want to place that really at the heart of culture. And there's no better place than the premium publishers such as ourselves.
That's interesting. And I was just wondering, how robust would you say that the current online advertising model is?
I guess on balance, I would say it's pretty robust insofar as we deliver a huge amount of value. So I would absolutely be confident to say that all of our advertising partners would say that we are effective in terms of what we deliver. because ultimately it is effectiveness that is the primary objective as an advert sort of comes into fruition. But I think in terms of the future of online advertising and how robust it will be, I think we'll rely on greater collaboration, simplification. Gosh, do we make things difficult? I mean, the ad tech supply chain is probably the most darkest of arts at the moment, and as sustainability becomes an ever increasing priority, then I think we are going to have to get into the ad tech supply chain and understand that dark art. So I think it's robust, but it needs a huge amount of work going forward, collaboratively and in a smart and simple way.
Okay, that's really interesting. Does The Guardian get more premium brands willing to advertise with you because of the size and legitimacy, engagement of your readership?
100%. I mean, 100%. And I guess it sort of it then goes to a definition. We talk about premium. I talk about premium publishers all the time, and I suppose in my mind I know what premium means in terms of a definition. But when we then talk about premium partners, what do we mean by that? And what I would say is authentic partners who absolutely know what it is that the message that they're trying to convey, that they are true about that message. So we will definitely, at Guardian Advertising, we will definitely walk away from certain briefs that we feel in of themselves don't really speak to the heart of what the advertiser's trying to do. You may or may know that a couple of years ago, as a policy, we stopped taking gas and oil advertising, fossil fuel advertising, because again, we wanted to make sure that we were walking the walk in, as well as sort of talking the talk. So we are selective, and that I think allows our partners, new and potential, to know that they are coming and getting what they expect. And therefore they have faith and confidence in being able to partner with us, and their message has greater resonance.
Yeah.
I think we're going to talk about purpose, aren't
We
we?
are, we're on that now.
Great.
So the trend to communicate around brand values is strongly rising, as you just said. Last year you published a brand purpose research offering, which offered insights on what brand purpose means. And page 3.
All right.
And the importance of purposeful media placement. Could you tell us about the findings and how you're helping brands communicate their purpose better, some advice and guidelines you usually provide?
Absolutely. So, yeah, thanks, Jen. You talked about a piece of research that we did. It was, we engaged Ipsos Mori to do the research, and we did it on a global scale. Well, I say global. We have owned and operated businesses in Australia and in the US, and so we conducted the research in Australia, US, and the UK. And what we really did was we took a number of combinations of advertisers, and we looked at the results as to where there was a brand uplift. And where there was a brand uplift, I think the results were surprising, delightful, but surprising for us. Where there was an uplift, 58% of the uplift was attributed to where the advert was placed, i.e. the media in which that advert was placed. So it's supremely important to think about where you advertise. Just in terms of the rest of the stats to kind of make up the 100%, so 14% was due to the creative, so the advert itself, just 14%, and then 28% was as a result of the brand itself, the advertiser itself. So more than twice that was as a result of where your media was placed. And so as you think about, as an advertiser or an agency, thinking about where you want to place advertising, think about where it goes. Yes, of course, effectiveness, as I said earlier, that's the primary objective. But the secondary objective surely should be about what are you funding? What are you actually saying when you advertise with certain brands? And so from our point of view, purpose is supremely important. We feel very well placed to, I guess, be a little holier than thou about purpose, insofar as, you know, we are 201 years old this year, and we've been talking about the things that are so of the moment, insofar as climate crisis, equity, diversity. We've been talking about those things for decades, if not hundreds of years. And so I think we really do have an authentic place to be able to talk about purpose.
And how do you work with those brands where they come to advertise with you and you can clearly see it's a greenwashing exercise? How do you veto their work? What advice do you give them when you go, this is a virtue signaling purpose as opposed to actually a real authentic behavior change?
I guess the beauty for us is that we can say no completely. As I sort of referenced earlier, we actually do veto in totality certain things that come to us. But to your point, we're very open and honest and frank with our partners about what we see as being the elements that perhaps lack substance, lack authenticity. You may expect me to say it, but I have an amazing team. I have a phenomenal director of advertising who, her name is Imogen Fox. She has come up through the editorial route, so to speak, and so she has a phenomenal partnership and working relationship with our wonderful journalists. And so I think she also has a great sensibility towards what feels right and what sort of feels Guardian in its very nature. And she's brave, she'll speak honestly and openly, and I guess that would be the culture that I would say I'd hope to inculcate through not just the kind of international functions, but broadly across advertising. So it's easy and difficult depending on the partner, I guess.
Yeah, and your Guardian Labs, your branded content division, how does that work with your brands to ensure that content's compelling and effective?
I would say it doesn't have a kind of prescriptive model. It sort of depends. I mean, there are occasions when brands come to us and they're actually quite clear in the message that they want to convey, and therefore for us it's just being quite innovative and creative with how that message then gets conveyed. And then others come to us with a less well-formed idea. And again, I would say we have an amazing bunch of people, all ages, all backgrounds, and of course that diversity plays in so well because you then get this phenomenal range of ideas, and they come up with things that I just think, wow, I would never have thought of that in a million years. So I think we react to really what we're faced with. So it's a variety, but certainly we are very focused on results, and when they say to us, we want to deliver this, we're very open and honest about how we can, when we can, and what we can.
And how has being accredited BCorp affected the way you work?
I think insofar as from an advertising perspective, it's allowed us again to have sort of authenticity to go and talk to other B Corps. We were accredited back in 2019, and as a result of that, we were then the first in our sort of industry vertical. So it gives us authenticity. It also, I suppose, has accelerated our thinking in terms of what we need to do from a sustainability level. We were the very first in removing plastics from our wrappers in terms of our print publications. We also have the most recyclable. There's obviously degrees of recyclable. We have the most recyclable paper in our newsprint. Obviously, we only deliver newsprint in the UK, so that's not something that we face into internationally. And we're also really developing, and we've committed to the AdNet Zero program. We've got a number of other initiatives that are prevailing. So yes, I think it really has been a bit of a catalyst, a bit of an accelerator, a bit of a kick up the backside in terms of we can do more, and we set ourselves apart to do more. Yeah,
and also interestingly, in 2019, The Guardian changed its language, the language it uses around the environment. So it became climate crisis, not climate change. How has adapting that stance helped you find the right brands to work with, and how attractive has it been for brands for you being so brave to make that stance?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I would say our journalism has always spoken for itself. I think on the one hand it was right to change the language. I don't think it was fundamentally shifting insofar as how brands worked with us, because I think we already had the authenticity and the right to sort of speak in that space. So I don't think it fundamentally was a change, but I think it was extremely important, because I do think from all the evidence that we see and all that our, as I say, our journalists write, I think we would agree that actually we just need to take some action. It was interesting to see, I think Campaign reported that thank you. I think Campaign reported that recently at Cannes Lion this week, somebody came on and protested. I think people do feel very strongly about it, and I think it is really difficult. One thing I would say, I'd mentioned just at the beginning of this talk about measurement for advertising. Measurement in relation to climate is a nightmare. I can't think of a better word other than to say we just haven't got an answer. We don't have a consistent method of really determining who is killing the planet more than others. So I think that's a huge, big topic for us, and something that I really would think we should get behind.
Great. Does anybody have any questions for Claire? All right. Is it lunchtime? It appears to be
Between you and a glass of rosé.
Yeah, exactly. Claire, is there anything I've missed that you'd like to talk about?
No, I mean, I think insofar as I think the one thing actually probably that I would say, just as a sort of parting word, we sometimes talk about brand safety as the thing that is so protective of advertising. But I love a statistic, probably the accountant in me. What I would say to you is we run a fair amount of tests. I love data, I love proof. And we did an A/B test around brand safety. And we took, and the result of that brand safety test says that, again, brand uplift, 4% in safe inventory, 35.8% in unsafe inventory. Unsafe inventory that advertisers would not advertise on. And also post the BLM, we found actually all of the journalism monetized at 47% lower than other news. So whilst agencies and advertisers are talking about the right things, the evidence would suggest they're not doing the right things. So I implore the kind of don't take the course of least resistance. Agencies, please be a bit more challenging, be a bit more thoughtful in terms of where and how you place your advertising. Is that okay?
Fighting talk, Claire. That was lovely. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate it.
No, thanks very much.
Thanks.